Hello and welcome. We're going to be providing a presentation for you today. This group project was done by Francois Blassini and Austin Mast.
For our project, we looked at the BugBot. We found the idea in the Arduino robotics book, and it can be seen here. So this is what we got the design from, and we followed different things to figure out how to make that. So the first thing we had to do was find all of the parts for it. And as you see, the project was rather expensive, but we got it made, and you can see an exploded view of all the parts here. So this just gives you a general idea of what our project's going to look like and what we had to put into it. So next we'll look at the circuitry of the project.
Yeah, so we provided the circuitry for this project in order to satisfy the requirement of providing a fritzing electrical model showing our circuitry. So if we look on the right, we used a fritzing software to help create the electrical circuitry that we used. On the left you can see a robot, just to provide an example, and just so that you guys know, it's going to be flipped. So the left antenna is actually going to be right here, and the left bump sensor is going to be provided right here. All of the lines that go from each sensor, like the left bump sensor, is going to be highlighted in green. Each of these just represents the circuitry and where it ends up going in the Arduino board. Now, let's start with the mode switch. The mode switch determines which direction the robot will move. So when the mode switch is turned on, the robot will be moving in a forward direction. When we turn the mode switch off, the robot will be moving in a reverse direction. The left and right antennas are used so that when a wire makes contact with the bolt, it completes a circuit which notifies the Arduino board that the robot has made contact with an object, so that the board knows that it needs to turn away from that object and go in a different direction. The power switch, pretty self-explanatory. It determines if the robot will be on or off. And now we get to the last three, the bump sensors. We have the left bump sensor, the center bump sensor, and the right bump sensor. These sensors are used so that when a robot makes contact with an object, hitting the sensor is depressed and notifies the Arduino board that there is an object in its path, so that the robot will be able to turn into a different direction and get out of the way of the object. Now we should also notify you of the requirements we had when building this robot. Our requirements for this project was to build a robot with the tools that we bought to make a fully functional robot that can make autonomous decisions based on when it makes contact with another object. For example, if the right side of the vehicle makes contact with an object and the right antenna sensor is depressed, then the robot should turn in a different direction and go away from the object.
So now we can look at some of the code that we had to use to get the robot to do what we wanted to do. So here you can see the mode pin. We had to write what pin it was attached to, so the mode switch is attached right here at pin 4, and then the different antennas are attached at pins 3 and 2, which are right here, and then the bump sensors are attached at 6, 5, and 8, which are all right here. And we had to skip pin 7 because with testing the different sensors, we found out here through doing this that pin 7 was actually dead, and we could not get any sensing from there, so we had to move that around. In order to satisfy another part of the project, we drew up the entire model in SolidWorks. It can be seen here in an isometric view, just the outline of each individual part and how it fits onto the robot. And then a color view of this can be seen right here. And this is just our completed robot, and this is pretty much what the robot looks like, except we do not show any of the wires here because that would be rather complicated. But you can watch in our next video a little demonstration of how our robot works.
You are now free to move about the cabin.